And then if there isn't anything and the Matt doesn't know about this, today's kind of thing we need to mention pile, we've got that, but that's coming up with Dodgers. With Dodgers question, Mike Sewell, which is next. Over on X, formerly the Twitters. How's that going? Since I'm not online or anything, it's like now that it's called X, are people calling it
X? Somebody posted a thing saying now that they've changed Twitter to X, that means that all the Twitter employees are either X employees, as in EX hyphen, or X, capital X employees.
Right.
It's like watching a dumpster fire. Or a train crash. You know this isn't going to end well, and Tuesday, there was a push on Monday on Tuesday. Don't anybody use X/Twitter as a sign that that to the advertisers that, hey, you're not getting any engagements for 24 hours. What's going on? So I deleted it off my phone, and I'm debating putting it back on, because it's one of those I go on and it's 5 people that I follow that I actually care about, and then a bunch of crap like ads that I hide the ad because I don't care about whatever the product is, or it's a friend of a friend of a friend, or it's just the algorithm breaks and all of a sudden it's, hey, you're interested in this, aren't you? It's like, no, not at all. Why are you showing me things I don't care about? And so, I've kind of pulled back. I'll go on for every day when I have a post. I go through the Moment of Service Twitter account or X account, I guess. It just sounds weird. It's the Moment of Service X account. You mean Denny?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll post a link to whatever today's blog post is, and whatever day it is. So like Monday, and then the link, or Tuesday, and then the link, and then there'll be a little button or a little notification thing that says, oh, you have notifications, and I click on it, and a bunch of people followed me. Okay, great. Or my other private personal account liked something that the Moment of Service account posted, because that's how the internet works. And then this question came up, and I'm going, okay, this is something that I will shuffle into the pile, and I left the window open for a week just to remind myself, hey, this guy has a question. Make sure that we ask this question of Dave, because otherwise I'm going to forget. It's going to be one of those, I swear I had more questions. Where are all these questions? And I can't find them because it's the internet. If it's not right in front of you, it wasn't really important.
So you go through the Moment of Service X feed, and look for something that's in the question category.
Well, if someone specifically tags the account and asks a question, that's a really good way of me going, oh yeah, I have to ask this.
Okay, that's what the that Moment of Service is about. That they asked the account. And that's you.
Yeah, because Tim gave it up, because Tim was doing it for a while, and after a year, he's like, well, I should probably just turn this over to you. And I'm going, okay.
Thanks, I think.
I'm just old enough and just Luddite enough to go, they come up with a new app, and this is the new hot app that all the kids like, and I'm going, I'm not a 13-year-old girl. What do I care? That was Twitter to me when it first came out. I'm not a 13-year-old girl. What do I care? You get on my personal account, I have a pinned tweet where it's an image of a poster my dad has of a urinal with a bunch of graffiti, and it's a funny poster, and I've seen bathrooms in the real world that look like that, and the pin the pin tweet. So if a tweet is pinned, when people go to your profile, it's the first thing they see. And like, for a moment of service, the pinned tweet would be a link to the website. For some artists, it's a link to their online portfolio. Well, my pinned tweet for my personal account is this image, and it says, "This is how I see Twitter. If you didn't like something I posted, next time I'll try a limerick."
Okay, all right.
I mean,
see, because the only thing that came to mind for me when I heard about read about the X thing in the newspaper, because in the newspaper, anytime something happened on Twitter that had to do with writing or had to do with writers, and suddenly it generated this huge outpouring of comment section or whatever. You knew the scale of the importance that this holds in our society, because it was responded to by Neil Gaiman, Stephen King, and Margaret Atwood. Those were the only three writers that something came up, like some poor writer had some what was it? It was nobody showed up at their first signing, and immediately, like practically within moments, Neil Gaiman and Stephen King and Margaret Atwood had all posted stories about signings they had done where nobody had showed up. And it's like, well, it's very nice of them to do, for somebody who's on Twitter and a writer and going, I feel like killing myself kind of thing. Well, why is it just those three writers? So I was curious if this is now a situation because of Neil Gaiman's high standing on the site. Is he now Neil Gaiman X-Man?
I should ask him that.
That's a thought.
I've had interactions with Neil every now and then where he he'll tweet something and he gets 5,000 responses, and sometimes he sees them and sometimes he doesn't. And I've had a couple, like when the Comicsgate thing blew up, I had said something about it to him, and his response was that the little interaction he had was people who are part of Comicsgate trying to tell him he didn't know anything about his own career. And that was when he washed his hands of them. He's like, I'm not dealing with you people anymore. You're literally telling me I don't know what I did. That how I broke in, the dues he paid, all that stuff. It's they're telling him he doesn't know Sandman, and when it's like, pretty sure Neil's the guy that knows Sandman better than anybody else.
Yeah, but at the same time, Kevin Eastman makes the point that he tried to change his entry on Wikipedia because they had him born in the wrong city in Maine. He was born in Portland, and they kept changing it back. So to this day, he's now, I forget the other location, but they're quite insistent. No, you weren't born in Portland, and we would appreciate it if you'd stop messing around with our absolute truth here. Anyway, okay, moving on to Estimp, a.k.a. Zine Love, a.k.a. Les Sorno Zines, Yay Sorno Zines, at Yeston Pettigrew. So that's their handle.
Yes.
That's them contacting at A Moment of Service. I got that right?
I was gonna just say a guy on X/Twitter, and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna put what it actually says the name is, because I looked at it and went, Dave's gonna have fun with this. You can't.
Well, Dave's definitely going. All right, and how much time do you people spend on this? Not pointing fingers. I spend 3 hours reading John's Gospel Monday and Wednesday, and you obviously think that's lunatic behavior.
No.
Anyway, okay. Someone on Facebook was asking a question about Glamour Puss. They know that there were different versions sent out, a retailer version and a regular version. There was also mention of a fashion industry version being sent out. Did that happen? And yes, it did. Yes, it did. And as a matter of fact, like I never think about this because Glamour Puss is definitely in my rear view mirror at this point. But there were two versions of the fashion industry version, and I got Rolly to take a picture of me today, holding one of them up. He'll be emailing that to you, along with the stay flat that they were mailed out in, which had a stamp in the corner. Pick it up right here. This was the JetCon self-sealing corrugated mailer, and I got a stamp made up that says, "Your Glamour Puss Platinum VIP Access Pass enclosed," and that was on the front of the stay flat. And then I got the addresses printed up. This was one of those. Boy, did this look like a great idea on paper. This can't possibly not work. What I did was, where are we here? Now I've mislaid it. Have I mislaid it, or just turned it upside down, or what have I done? Where is it? Anyway, the fashion industry edition. I'll read the back cover of it. You'll have, like I say, you'll have a photograph of the front cover, and I'll talk about that in a moment. This special fashion industry limited edition version of Glamour Puss #1, in parentheses, which doubles as your platinum access or gold access VIP invitation to all Glamour Puss events in 2008, has been mailed to the Glamour Puss guest list, a select group of executives and editorial personnel employed by these fine North American fashion, lifestyle, and women's magazines. And like I say, this is on the back cover. Excuse me. And then the list is Chatelaine, Elite, Fashion, Flair, Glamour, Harper's Bazaar, InStyle, Lulu, Lucky, Nouveau, Nylon, Redbook, Self, Style, the Oprah magazine, which was still coming out at that time, Threads, Vanity Fair, and Vogue. To find out more about your Glamour Puss VIP Platinum or VIP Gold access, visit www.glamourpusscomic.com. And as you will be looking at right now, because Matt Dow has skillfully put in these visuals, I came up with the idea of going, if I took the foil seals that lawyers use on legal documents, which were being phased out, but they still were using them at that time, and if I got a template made that said Glamour Puss Platinum Edition, and bought the silver seals, and then pressed that into the silver seal, and then put it into this circle on the cover, that's going to look really impressive to people in the fashion industry who are civilians and don't know really what it is that they're looking at. It's like, wow, that's, it's got raised lettering and everything. That's really, really cool, was the idea. And the idea was that I went and bought a copy of each of those magazines that I just listed, counting them real quickly: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 fashion and lifestyle and women's magazines. went and bought a copy and tore out the masthead, which is the list of everybody that works at the magazine. Fashion magazines are kind of notorious for not paying people real well. So one of the big job perks, particularly for the lower orders, is that you get your name in the magazine, as long, practically down to intern, and that is, well, at least I can get a copy of the magazine or buy a copy of the magazine and show all my friends and relatives, here's my name down here. And arbitrarily, I would go, okay, publisher, editor-in-chief at the top, how far down do I go to the bottom of the platinum level? And everybody below that is gold access level. And did the gold foil for the gold foil level, and basically got mailing labels printed for each of the magazines that had the magazine's name and address on the label, and then went through and hand wrote each individual person's name who was getting an individual copy that would go with their complimentary copy of the fashion edition to their place of employment. I forget how much it cost. I'm blanking intentionally on how much it costs to press all of those labels, print an entire run of fashion industry preview editions, package them, buy the Stay Flat mailer, put them in a plastic bag with a backing board, put them into the mailer, and then take them to the post office and mail them. Ballpark at that time, 2008, I think it was at least $4 or $5 to mail each one of them. And the idea was that however many people that I heard from, I could just send them invitations to events at comic book conventions, which wouldn't be at the actual comic book convention. It would be at a fashion industry style bar in proximity to the comic book convention. Basically, find a place where they're not doing exactly land office business. Can I hold a Glamour Puss party here? Explain the concept to them. I figure, well, yeah, we're all it's a place that's just opened or whatever, but is pretty well upscale and have business attire invitations. The only place that happened was at the last signing in 2010, which Margaret and any number of people who were at the last signing, and we'll have photographs of everybody in business attire at the upscale bar that Callum arranged, Strange Adventures store owner, for everybody to go to. That was the only Glamour Puss party that happened. Darwin Cook and his wife were there. So that was the concept, was people that aren't afraid to wear business attire and actually think, this would be pretty cool, go to an upscale bar, wear business attire, would mix and mingle with people from the fashion industry, and we would get some sort of cross-pollination going on around Glamour Puss. And like I say, ballpark, how much did all of this cost for me to put together? $12,000, $14,000. And then we get to, I hope I'm obviously mispronouncing this, but Easton Pettigrew. Do you know whether Dave got a reaction from any of the fashion copies that were sent out? And no, zero, zip, no responses to the website. One of the things that I was hoping for was, since everybody at the fashion magazine that's on the masthead is going to get one of these, and the fashion magazines were still pretty thick at that time, and they all had like potpourri pages where here's 15 or 16 different products that, you know, got sent to the office, and somebody thought that this was really cool, and somebody else thought that this was really cool. So we're throwing it in here, and, you know, go and buy this at your local comic book store. It's Glamour Plus. We think it's funny. No, absolutely zero. In retrospect, the fashion industry takes itself very, very, very seriously. And the idea that you would parody a fashion magazine, well, there's nothing funny about fashion magazines. And it's like, well, au contraire, if you're asking me personally. But that's the problem, is I was the only one that you could ask personally. Only after I went through all of that did I remember that Harvard Lampoon, the precursor of the National Lampoon, had the same problem happen when they did their Vogue magazine parody. It's like nobody who read Vogue magazine wanted to read it, and nobody who would ordinarily read the Harvard Lampoon was interested in fashion magazine. So it also tanked. I remember one of the headlines from the Harvard Lampoon Vogue parody was 15 ways to decorate your uterine wall. See, that's funny. I thought it was funny, but it's like anybody that saw that in the newsstand who was a fashion person went, that's not funny. And anybody who was going and buying magazines and isn't a fashion fan went, I don't buy magazines like that. I wouldn't buy Vogue, and why would I buy a parody of Vogue? So there you go. There's the response to that one. I do have the mental image that I had was the dumpster out back of the Condé Nast building, because what I found out researching all of the fashion magazines is that almost all of them were either published by Condé Nast or were in the Condé Nast building. Consequently, I pictured the dumpster in behind was just absolutely chock-a-block full of what are now ultra rare platinum and gold edition exclusive fashion industry preview copies, of which, as far as I know, the Cerebus Archive has the only copies. If anybody wants to take issue with that and say, no, I got one of those, I might have sent one to Margaret Liz.
You sent me a gold one.
You got a gold one, did you? Okay.
And then another gold one turned up at the store my buddy was working at, and he's like, hey, do you want one of these? And I'm like, Glamorous #1? No, I ordered like 8 copies, trying to goose numbers up, and I ended up buying them all. And he's like, well, it's a gold one. I'm like, oh, yeah, that one I want. And he's like, what? And I'm like, well, they're all serialized, so technically, if we have the list of who got what, we can track down who had this and decided they didn't want it anymore.
Right. And you did that.
No, it's on my to-do list. There's only one guy that would have the list that I'm talking to.
I was just kidding. I knew you didn't do that. But
My all-time favorite was the Glamour Plus website. If you had access, you could vote on article titles for the covers of upcoming issues. And you could submit submit article ideas if you had them. And the only title I could come up with that I was going to submit, that it was one of those, by the time I thought of it and was going to submit it, the website had kind of sort of gone away. Like it was there, but it wasn't active type thing. Was babies versus puppies? What's the fashion accessory this season?
Good one.
And when you pitched me on, hey, do you want to pitch stories for Glamour Puss? That was an article that I'm like, I really should try writing that article. I'm like, the problem is it's just a headline. There is no substance that would make it funny.
Again, au contraire. All you'd have to do is read one of Paula's fashion magazines and go, I can do that voice. It does have a manner that begs to be torn apart, but it certainly doesn't perceive itself that way.
Well, that's when I was doing my research for trying to write for Glamour Puss. I bought an issue of Vogue, and it was okay. I'm gonna take this apart and go through, find all the cut all the pictures out, try to figure out what kind of voice I want and stuff. And the big thing that blew my mind was, for the same price of a regular floppy newsstand comic, I could get something the size of the phone book of the town I live in. And now, granted,
right,
90% ads, but when you're looking for images, the ads would still work. I'm like, why can't we have comics this thick for this price? And the answer is because nobody's gonna pay for an ad in Superman what they're gonna pay for an ad in Vogue.
Exactly. And that model collapsed. The fashion magazine model collapsed because of the internet. It was you want to know what the fashion show that's going on in Milan right this minute is like. Just go to this feed and you can watch it. You can watch it on your high definition television if you want. You don't have to wait 2 months for somebody to print a postage stamp sized photograph from it saying, okay, here's one of the dresses. I don't want to see one of the dresses. I want to see all of the dresses. And the internet is far more capable of doing that than fashion magazines were. They're still holding their own, but it's the same thing that happened in newspapers. The license to print money, because of the money that came in on the classified ads. As soon as you got Craigslist, the classified ads have just been knocked out of the batter's box. That's it. That doesn't change back the other way at any time. One of the things I've been thinking about as a fundraiser for the last 4 or 5 days, because I actually went, okay, I don't know if I have to start selling artwork if the situation is getting that grim. So I started looking at the Glamour Puss artwork, and it's always difficult, because it's like I'm looking at the artwork, going, okay, which one would probably bring in the most money? And it's like, oh, I really like this one, and it's like, yeah, but would it bring in the most money? And it's like, I don't know, I really like this one, and the more I look at it, it's like a bird's head. You're sort of like tilting back and forth and going, I can't see this through the eyes of others. But one of the things that happened was there have been 2 or 3 occasions in the last few years where I've gone through all of the Glamour Puss artwork that I still have and gone and doing that. Which ones am I going to sell? Which ones am I going to start with? And which ones do I want to hang on to? And I'm going, I can't find the beer and iguana page. And you know what I'm talking about, because that was one of your I will try writing a Glamour Puss page thing.
That's I was just thinking, like, well, that if you're gonna try to sell a page from Glamour Puss, that'd be in my top 5 of trying to sell, because it's got famous pretty girls that are still famous on it.
Avril Lavigne and
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
And
Taylor Swift when she still had ringlets, no less.
The Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen pages would be also, there's probably going to be, I don't know if there's as big of an interest in the two of them, but at the same time, it's like, there's a famous girl, we recognize it's a famous girl, this is a page that, you don't have to wonder, well, what the heck is it? Well, it's a famous girl.
Right.
I mean, the Sarah
what I was going to do was try to leverage the fact that, exactly as you say, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it every time that I went through, and I'm going like, what did I do with that page? I didn't give it to somebody, because it's like, I really, really liked it. It's a really nice page. I thought particularly the likeness on Avril Lavigne was good. You did point out that Colt 45 isn't a beer.
Well, it's a form of beer, but it's not beer. That's
right.
I mean, I grabbed the concept of generic beer from the movie Repo Man, because in that movie, all the food products are the store brand for this store in California, where it's a white can with blue printing. So like pasta, it's spaghetti. It's a white box, blue writing, and says spaghetti. And in the movie, they drink beer, and it's a can.
Uh-huh.
It's a can, white can, blue printing says beer. They also have there's some kind of cocktail in a can that it looks. It's a smaller can, but it's the same concept. And so okay, it's beer. So when I created the characters, it was, okay, it's iguana and beer, and the beer is going to look like that, but I made it black because it's a black and white book. It makes more sense. Well, I went on the internet and bought 3 generic beer cans so that I would have them. And after the Colt 45 thing and the other 2 times that you've done beer, and one time you created your own logo and it looks amazing, and I'm going, but it's off model.
Right.
I was gonna send you one of the 3, because I have 2 that are identical, just says beer on the front and the back, but then I have one that is the most beer can in the world, because it says beer on the front, and on the back there's this 2-paragraph rant about buying American.
Really?
And I got it, and I'm going, yeah, no, that tracks. It's the kind of thing of, it's beer. He's gonna go on a stupid rant that, in hindsight, you look at it and you're like, well, that's kind of jingoistic.
Right.
And I keep coming back to, it's such a simple design, and I'm going, but then when the Kitchen Brothers, Mike and Blair, did the crossover, they had mugs of beer, and I'm going, that's neat, but it's off model.
Right. Don't try telling me about my character. But anyway, getting back to the page, now that I know that it exists, it's like, and like I say, I really like it. It's a very nice looking page. It's a very, very good looking iguana. Even though Colt 45 isn't an actual beer, it does look like a can of Colt 45, and your gag is funny because it's the 2 of them talking about doing a benefit concert for Lindsay Lohan, and by the time they did it, Lindsay Lohan was like already out of prison, So we decided to party in Cabo instead. And it's like I went, that's a great page. That's a great page. You sent it to me as a story idea, and it's like I don't really see multi-page strip in this, but it definitely make a funny one-page inside joke. It's like, now my question is, the deepest pocketed Cerebus fans who listen to Please Hold for Dave Sim and are a Moment of Cerebus devotees, How much are you people willing to scrape together between you to buy Matt Dow, the beer and iguana page?
Yeah, that was on my list of, okay, I win the lottery and I have more money than brains. I would call up, hey, Dave, I have more money than brains. It's all your troubles are over, our ships come in, but I want to buy that page. At what point do I pry it out of your hands without you going, no, and ripping it in half? And I'm it's one of those.
If I can't have it, no one can have it.
It's one of those $1 million, $500,000. I mean, at a certain point, my ego goes, well, it's got to be in the six figures, and then the little voice goes on of, Dave probably could sell it for $1,000 right here, right now, if somebody had the money. It's like, yeah, but no, that page is really nice. I mean, I have the tracing papers for it, and even the tracing papers look really, really nice.
There you go. So what I'm trying to do is, I have no shame. I'll leverage anything at this point. So it's like, if you're listening to me, you are already a Moment of Cerebus devotee. You are already a Please Hold for Dave Sim devotee, and you know how tirelessly and how thanklessly and how relentlessly, day in and day out, on your behalf, Matt Dow labors, time taken away from the bosom of his loving family. All right, that's a bit of a stretch, but you see where I'm going with this. It's like Matt gives and gives and gives and gives without asking any reward whatsoever, which I do as well. It's like I give and I give and I give. And so many of you say, we really, really appreciate how much you give, Dave. And I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. But it's like, okay, in terms of dollars and cents, how much in the same, a moment of Cerebus, esprit de corps that you exhibited when issue number 4 was going up for auction at heritageauctions.com. And you all pulled together as a team. Apologies to Pink Floyd. You see where I'm going with this.
Well, the footnote on the number 4 is we pulled together as a team to get blown out of the water in literally 30 seconds.
Right. But that has because it was a pretty significant amount of money. I mean, to get blown out of the water in 30 seconds.
There's a part of me that's going, well, Dave, I mean, you have the art, you have a scanner, we have access to a printer. We could do prints of that page and sell them for, and, that's the part where it's, okay, a stay flat, Rolly's time, the printing cost, signing them, you could put platinum seals on them if you had platinum seals left, But then, it's okay. It's one print. It's not going to be a 10-pack. At what point does it sound like we're no longer pigs? We're starting to turn into hogs. And I'm thinking, $50, $60. I mean, there has to be a profit here. But you could sell a print, and I would Scout's Honor print up for everyone that buys them a copy of Time Machine and a Coat Hanger, the making of the page, the Glamourpuss archive ash can that I made years and years and years ago. And I've posted parts of it, but I've never posted, I don't think I've posted the whole thing. Mainly because it's one of those I have to go back and there's, page 7 has half a blank page just because of the formatting, so I was going to put a funny cartoon in there. But I will finish up the Glamourpuss Archive ash can and offer to anybody that offers to buy a print, if Dave wants to sell them, just to see what kind of interest there is. And this is the part where Michael and Margaret and Jen go, we'll do it, and that's the end of the income. So Dave wants to know how much money for the actual art, with his fingerprints on it and the pencil smudges and
Actually, it's pretty clean. There's I was surprised that, but I forced you to digress right there.
But yeah,
we're gonna leave it at that. I think everybody knows exactly what we're talking about. It's Merry Christmas for Dave and Matt, and massive guilt for everybody else.
I mean, I still like the print idea just because I'm a big fan of, hey, we should do prints. But I also understand that prints is a pain in the butt.
Yes.
It's much.
If this doesn't gel, if this doesn't coalesce into something resembling a mutual Christmas, at the very least, I will get Rolly to take it up to Alfonso and do a full-size scan for you.
Okay. I mean, that's technically the page before it. We need to get a full-size scan to Eddie, since that's the first appearance of Eddie in an Aardvark Vanaheim book.
Rare